You are listening to the Doing Motherhood podcast, where we talk all things Black mothers today. What's the goings on, y'all? Today is a listener letter day. I'm so excited. Y'all know I get thrilled about the listener letters. So if you have something that you would like to write in about, you can send your listener letter into our DMs on Instagram at doing_motherhood_podcast. That's a mouthful. I don't know what I was thinking when I decided that was the handle, but you can send a listener letter there, or you can send it to our email address, which is info@doingmotherhoodpodcast.com. So our listener letter. Today, the listener letter comes from a mom who, much like myself, is an empty nester. She's about to be an empty nester, but she's realizing her babies aren't trying to leave the nest. So let's just get into it. Hey, Anya. My kids are 20 and 17, and they have no plans to move out. They told me they are artists and they need space to grow in their artistry. I'm not laughing at the children. I just love the way these Gen Zers are talking to us. Let me get back to the letter, though. Okay, so they told me they are artists and they need space to grow. I've set them up to be able to go to college, but they have no interest. I'm not a parent who believes in kicking them out at 18, but they can't stay here forever. What do I do? That's a dilemma. That is a dilemma. So we have a mom, her children are 20 and 17, her grown folks are 20 and 17. And she's saying like, hey, I thought we were doing this college thing. They have no interest in the college thing. In fact, they have told her that they are artists and they need space to grow. I love Gen Z. I do. I love Gen Z. They are like, they know who they are. They know who they are, and they intend to be exactly who they are. So what does this mom do? Because I absolutely feel her sentiment about not being the parent who just is like, you're 18, you got to go, right? We are in a different place. I'm 41 years old. It was a little more feasible went for me as an 18-year-old or like our age group, right? Things you could get a job and find yourself a little cheap apartment and put together your little, your A to B car and make some stuff happen. But we're living in a time that is nearly impossible for an 18-year-old today to do that. So I hear this mother saying, like, she knows it makes no sense to even think that saying you're 18 or, one of them is 20 already and you have to go. But how do we make sure something happens? And I think that's what I hear in this letter is the dilemma. Like, I'm not putting you out at this moment, but I need to see you doing something. So what is the something? What can this mother do? So here are my thoughts. They're just my thoughts. Okay, guys? They're just my thoughts. So take it, leave it. If you feel like it works. If you don't feel like it works, honey, come to the Instagram page and let's talk about it. So this is what I think. We are in a time where our government has decided that dependents can remain dependents until age 26, meaning they remain on their parents' insurance. They can remain on all of the legal things, right? So they can stay a dependent in that dependent category until age 26. And so I want to think about, so what are we doing between the ages of 18 or whatever age they graduate from high school? What are we doing between the ages of 18 and 26 years old when by that point you should figure something out so that you're not a dependent any longer, right? So this is what I think. I don't believe in forcing children to go to college anymore because college is super expensive, and it's way too expensive to have a floater sitting around not knowing what they want to do, or a child who absolutely knows that that is not what they want to do, right? And they're wasting your time, your money, their time, their energy, and the people who work there, right? Nobody has time for all of that. Those are the people who get in trouble on college campuses and all of that. So we don't want that for them either. What I would say, I think if this were my scenario, what I would say to these young people is, you do not have to go to college, but you will use your artistry in a way that brings you money. You can stay home, right? They can be at home, because I would want my children, if they don't have their own place, right? And if they're not in a position where they can make money to have their own at this time, I'd rather they be home, where I know that they're safe, where I know that they're eating, where I know that they have their needs met, so they don't have to go out there and do nothing funny for some money. So they can be at home. But you have until age 22, because most of us are graduating from college around age 21, 22. So I would say you have until age 22 to, what they say, space to grow as an artist. Figure your artistry out. In that time, you can be home, but your artistry needs to be bringing in something, right? And not that they have to like pay the household bills, but they've got to contribute to where they are. And I think that's only fair. You don't have to pay full rent. You're not paying full, like all the things that adults have to do when we begin to adult. They're not responsible for that. But you can sell some art. You can paint a little something and make some cash, right? You can go out there and do your poetry somewhere and get paid for it. You can go out there and sell your music and do jingles. I mean, listen, we got to get creative. If that's what artists do, that's what artists do. So how are you going to make some money? Bring in some money so that you're buying your own things. Put something on this cable bill, because y'all in here streaming all the time, right? Put something on this Wi-Fi. And I think that that's fair. So 21 or 22, that's when they have to have some things figured out. And that's when they're moving out of the home. But from 22 to age 26, if they need to come back home, they are always welcome to come back home. And they're welcome to come back home with a plan. Y'all hear that? With a plan, right? So if they move out at 21 and they figured they figure some stuff out, because that's what artists do, right? So they move out and they're doing their thing, and something happens and they realize they need to come back home. The door is open. But when you come back in this house, they're like, you need to have a plan written. I want to see it in your handwriting, right? I want it notarized. We need to have a plan. And I need to see you working to that, right? Every day, something needs to happen so that you're right back doing what you need to do. What we don't want is to allow young people to feel that they have this open-ended, never-ending time frame to figure it out. If we are in the business as parents of growing or helping young people grow into productive adults, productive and good citizens, people who just have something going on in their lives, we want to give them the space, but we want to make sure there's a plan in place. And then our job is to help them stay accountable, right? So at that point, as parents, we're not doing I'm not one to be like, you're in my house, it's my rules. I don't get down with that, but I need to see that you are progressing, that you're making some progress towards something, that you have a goal, that there is a date attached to that goal, that there is a date marked on a calendar attached to that goal, and that you're really every single day putting in the work to get yourself to that point. And as long as I see that as a parent, then to 26, like you happily, you will remain my dependent. If I don't see those things, I don't want to say I'll put people on the street, but we all have to do what we have to do, right? So that is our listener letter. I hope that's helpful to our listener. But I'm curious to know what you all would think. Like, I really want to have this conversation. What would you do? How do you see if you have this child that's just like, we're artists. We need space to grow. I could just imagine. We need space to grow. Baby, grow. They need to grow. They do. I want to give them the space. But what would you do? Come to the Instagram page at doing_motherhood_podcast and let's talk about it.